So, hello students. Today we are going to deal the lesson in history, that is nationalism in India. In this lesson, we will study about the various topics related to the development of nationalism in India. As you all are aware of the fact that nationalism means affectionate or affection and patriotic feelings toward the nation. नेशन के प्रति पैट्रियोटिक फीलिंग्स, देशभक्ति की भावना को ही हम लोग नेशनलिज्म कहते हैं. इस चैप्टर में हम लोग वन बाय वन हिस्ट्री के टॉपिक को डील करेंगे और डील करने के बाद उसका रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन ऑब्जेक्टिव बाद में हम लोग डील करेंगे. तो सबसे पहले हम लोग इस लेसन में शुरू करते हैं. हाउ फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वार was responsible for the rise of nationalism in India. How First World War was responsible for the rise of nationalism in India. So in this question, 3 or 4 points are necessary for giving the explanation of this answer. The first one is, during First World War, there was huge war expenditure, and in order to compensate the expenditure, the British government imposed taxes, custom duty, and also increased the price, which annoyed the Indians, and that was the cause of development of nationalism in India. Second one was, in between this period, during First World War, there was forced recruitment. Forced recruitment means forcibly the rural youth were generally recruited in the army, which annoyed the Indians, and that was the second cause for the rise of nationalism in India. And the third one is, between 1920 and 2021, between the year 1920 and 2021, there was epidemics, death of about 13 million people, but the government did nothing for their benefit. So that was another cause for the rise of nationalism in India. And the last one is, socially, economically, politically, exploitative nature of British was the cause of rise of nationalism in India. So, as we have studied that when there was the rise of nationalism की भावना जगी, तो उसे भारतीयों के तो फायदा होगा, लेकिन अंग्रेजों को घाटा होने लगा. तो in order to suppress this movement or sense of nationalism, the British imposed a very harsh and cruel act called as Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act क्या था, क्या प्रोविजंस थे? तो ड्यूरिंग Rowlatt Act, it was passed in 1919 just to suppress the growing sense of nationalism in India. Under this act, Sir Sidney Rowlatt introduced this law and passed in the Imperial Legislative Council despite of Indian leader opposition. Oppose करने के बावजूद भी इसको पास करा लिया गया. क्या था ये Rowlatt Act? Under this act, police were given enormous power. Any doubtful or suspected leader can be put into prison for 2 years without any trial. बिना कोई सुनवाई का 2 साल तक इंडियन लीडर को जेल के अंदर रखने का इसमें प्रावधान था. Really, this was a very harsh act. Against this act, several leaders revolted, led the revolution, but all were suppressed, and lastly, this law was passed. Under this act, in relation to this act, Jallianwala Bagh incident occurred in 1919. The Jallianwala Bagh incident that occurred in 1919, That was the outcome of Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act का ही नतीजा था कि जालियांवाला बाग 1919 में अमृतसर शहर में डेवलप हुआ या घटना घटित हुई जो अमृतसर पंजाब में था। इसी से रिलेटेड 1919 तीसरा घटना, पहला नेशनलिज्म की भावना जगा, दूसरा रॉलेट एक्ट, तीसरा जालियांवाला बाग, and next one is Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement also took place in 1919. What was Khilafat movement? Why was it started? Who started it? All these questions will be discussed in this topic. Khilafat movement was generally started in India in 1919 by Ali brothers, namely Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. They were togetherly known as Ali brothers. What was the cause? So these were the people who started this Khilafat movement, and it was started in 1919. Why was it started? So during First World War, Turkey was defeated by the British. Turkey was defeated by the British. The British tried to displace Khalifa, who was the spiritual leader of Turkey. Turkey was a Muslim country, is a Muslim country, आज भी है. वहाँ के जो रूलर थे, spiritual leader थे, they used to adopt the title of Khalifa. So after the defeat of First World War, the British tried to abolish the title of Khalifa. As a result of this decision, there was movement in India led by Ali brothers called as Khilafat movement. A Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in 1919 and they led the revolution called as Khilafat movement. This movement, Khilafat movement, was generally later on held by Gandhiji in order to get the support of Hindus in their movement. So we have already discussed about Rowlatt Act, Khilafat movement. Next one is Rowlatt Act, Khilafat movement, Jallianwala Bagh incident. Now, in 1920-21, Gandhiji started non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement was started by Gandhiji. Why was it started? When was it started? Right, the cause of its beginning. So non-cooperation, Gandhiji wrote a book in 1909 called as Hind Swaraj. In that book, he describes that it is Indians who are supporting the British in every aspect. As a result, the British are becoming stronger day by day and they are ruling over Indians. So why not Indians should be told not to cooperate the British government? As a result, the British government will become weak and they will quit from India. That was the main logic, or that was the main idea of starting non-cooperation movement by Gandhiji. So what was the cause? First one was to support Khilafat movement. Secondly, exploitative nature of the British. Third, for gaining independence. And fourth one is the Indian leader against Rowlatt Act and Jallianwala Bagh incident. Against Rowlatt Act and Jallianwala Bagh incident, Gandhiji led this movement which was called as non-cooperation movement. The non-cooperation movement, generally, it has different nature in different states, in different fields, in rural area, in town, among plantation worker, and in tribal area. Now, what was the nature of non-cooperation movement in town? In town, Gandhiji told not to pay the tax. The peasants stopped paying taxes. Second was Swadeshi movement and boycott of British goods. Bonfire were held. Several places there was picketing. The liquor shops were picketed. Gandhiji told Indians not to cooperate the British institutions. Many lawyers, judges, teachers, students, workers of the different field, they left the job just to weaken the British institution. The main motive of Gandhiji was to weaken the British institution so that India will be able to achieve independence. There was also in the nature of town that Gandhiji told to wear khadi cloth and to stop wearing British machine-made cloth. So in this way, this revolution, this movement took place in town. Now what was the nature of NCM in countryside? Countryside means village. So the nature of non-cooperation movement in countryside was quite different from that in the city. In countryside, the movement was against Jamindar, started by the peasants, against high tax, begar system and bonded labor. Against this, many peasants revolted against this at several places. This movement was led by Jawaharlal Nehru and Baba Ramchandra. They formed Awadh Kisan Sabha and they led the movement. In this movement, this way, this movement took place in countryside. Now, what was the nature of non-cooperation movement in tribal area? In tribal area, this movement was against the British policy of not allowing the tribal to settle in the forest. As we have already studied that due to Forest Act, the privilege that were then obtained by the people of living in the near or in the forest, they were deprived from those privilege. जो भी फायदा उनको मिलता था जंगल में रहने वाले लोगों को, आदिवासी को, वो सारे फायदे खत्म कर दिए गए जब फॉरेस्ट एक्ट लागू किया गया. At several places they were not allowed. Their whole life system, the tribal people life system was mainly dependent upon forest. They were not allowed to enter in the forest, not to settle in the forest, not to cultivate, hunting or other things, not to obtain any forest product. As a result, at several places, many leaders revolted. And among them, the most famous leader, Alluri Sitaram Raju, revolted against the British, who was from Gudem Hills of Andhra Pradesh. He told the tribal people to wear khadi cloth. He considered himself as a very powerful leader. Many people supported him. The movement grew very powerful. But the British somehow captured him and he was hanged, and in this way, this movement was suppressed by the British. Now the third one is, what was the idea of plantation, Swaraj among plantation workers? Among plantation workers, Swaraj means plantation worker who used to live in Assam in the tea state. They believe that Swaraj means they are free to go to their home, or in the village. They will get land and they will be free to go to their home without any restrictions. Gandhi Raj will come. That was their idea about Swaraj. And many workers left the plantation work estate. But on the way, due to railway and steamer strike, they were caught by the police, brutally beaten up, and again sent back to their estate. So this was the idea of Swaraj among plantation workers. So we have studied that the non-cooperation movement which was started by Gandhi ji generally was very expand or has great influence in town, city, tribal area, plantation worker. But all of a sudden, this movement was suspended by Gandhi ji in the year 1922 due to Chauri Chaura incident. Chauri Chaura incident was a violent incident, and that's why Gandhi ji suspended this movement. Why Gandhi ji suspended this movement? The first one is due to the incident of Chauri Chaura, which was a violent incident. Second will be, Gandhi ji thought that the movement will become violent and it will be out of control. So in order to keep it under control, Gandhi ji stopped this movement. And third one is, some Indian leaders who were not in favor of non-cooperation movement because they wanted to take part in provincial election, and by winning the election, their motive was to oppose the government. And the last one was, Gandhi ji stopped this movement because he thought that the satyagrahi are to be properly trained before any movement, because they soon became violent. So in this way, Gandhi ji stopped Chauri Chaura incident. Now this incident occurred in 1922. And after this incident, we will now study about 1929. 1929, there was, not 29, 1928, there was the arrival of Simon Commission. Why Simon Commission arrived? Why it was boycotted? What was the main provision of Simon Commission? The Simon Commission was a commission led by Sir John Simon, came to India in the year 1928. Their main motive was to study the Indian Constitution, which was made by the British, and to provide some measures for the development of India. The motive was good. Then why it was boycotted? It was boycotted by the Indian leaders because the motive was to develop India. But there was no any Indian member. As there was no any Indian member, the Indian leader thought whatever suggestion they will suggest, that will be for their development, not for India's development. And that's why wherever they went, Simon Commission, there was huge protest by the Indian leaders under the banner, Simon go back. So this incident occurred in 1928. In 1929, there was Lahore Congress session. Lahore Congress session on the bank of Ravi, a Congress session was held in 1929 under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. Under this session, important decisions taken were, mostly it was held in the month of December 1929. Major decisions taken were, first, to organize 26 January, coming 26 January 1930 as an Independence Day. Second, Gandhiji was told to start a movement to unite the people and to develop the sense of nationalism. And the third one was the congressmen decided that they demand for complete independence from the government, from the British. So these were the demand generally put forward during Congress session, which was held in 1929 in Lahore. And accordingly, in 1930, Gandhiji started civil disobedience movement. Civil disobedience movement in 1930. Now, what were the causes for civil disobedience movement? The main cause was, first one is failure of Simon Commission. The Indians came to know the British intention that their motive is to develop, but their main motive was to develop themselves. Second one is that is non-fulfillment of Gandhiji 11 demand. Gandhiji sent on 31st January 1930 a list of 11 demand, and also stated that if the demand should not be fulfilled, latest by 11th March, he will start civil disobedience movement. His demands were not fulfilled. As a result, he started civil disobedience movement, or Salt March, or Dandi March. And the third one was socially, economically, politically exploitative nature of British. And last one is Congress decided to obtain complete Swaraj, complete independence in Lahore Congress session, which can be fulfilled only by such huge movement led by Gandhiji, that is civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji started this civil disobedience movement under the famous Salt March or Dandi March. Among the 11 demands which Gandhiji sent towards Lord Irwin, the most important demand was abolition of tax from salt. Removal of tax from salt. Salt, as we all know, is commonly used by the people of different sections in the society, and it has great impact if the price will increase. There will not be any change in the demand. As a result, Gandhiji started a historic Dandi Yatra or Dandi March with 78 volunteers from Sabarmati Ashram on 12th March, covering a distance of 12th March 1930, covering a distance of about 240 miles. He completed his Dandi Yatra on 6 April 1930. In the beginning, he started his journey along with 78 volunteers. But lastly, when he reached Dandi, a coastal village in Gujarat, there were thousands of people supporting him. There he boiled the seawater and prepared salt, and disobeyed the British law, as British were only allowed to prepare salt. As a result, Gandhiji was put into prison due to this activity. So this activity occurred in 1930. There was large scale arrest of Congress leader. People were told, Gandhiji told peasants not to pay the tax. Tax was the main source of income of the British. As a result, when tax was generally declined, the British government, Lord Viceroy, met Gandhiji on 5th March 1931, and a historic pact, Gandhi-Irwin Pact, was signed at Simla. Under this act, it was decided, Irwin told Gandhiji to stop this movement because it was not helpful, it was harmful for the British. Second, Gandhiji was told to participate in the second round table conference which was to be held in London. And thirdly, he assured Gandhiji that he will release all the political prisoners who were at that time in the jail. Gandhiji agreed this proposal and he stopped that movement which was more powerful than non-cooperation movement. Now the question arises, how NCM, non-cooperation movement, was less powerful than CDM, civil disobedience movement, or how civil disobedience movement was more powerful than non-cooperation movement? What was the difference, or how it was more powerful? So difference and powerful, the first difference will be non-cooperation movement was started in 1920. Civil disobedience movement was started in 1930. Non-cooperation movement was stopped due to Chauri Chaura incident, and civil disobedience movement was generally stopped by Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Third was, female participation in the movement were limited in non-cooperation movement, and it was at a greater extent in civil disobedience movement. Not to pay tax, told by Gandhiji by the peasants to the Jamindar or to the British, were limited in number during non-cooperation movement, but it was at a greater extent during civil disobedience movement. And the last one was, non-cooperation movement was mainly to put British government stand still, and in civil disobedience movement not only to put British government stand still, but to paralyze the government. So these were the main difference or powerfulness of civil disobedience movement. Now after civil disobedience movement, we will study about the limitation of civil disobedience movement. What were the limitations of civil disobedience movement? The first limitation was, in civil disobedience movement, there was a group of Hindu called as Sanatani. Upper caste Hindu were called as Sanatani. They do not want to mingle with the Dalit, or they do not want to mingle with Dalit or untouchable. As a result, the Dalit and untouchable remain aloof, remain outside, did not support it wholeheartedly this movement. And the second one is, in Congress, second means second limitation, in Congress there was the formation of Hindu Mahasabha, and this formation of Hindu Mahasabha led Muslim to keep away from this movement, as they thought their identity, their culture will be vanished by the formation of Hindu Mahasabha. Later on they formed this one, Muslim League, but that was another cause. In this way, these were the two main limitation of CDM. Now after CDM or civil disobedience movement, we will study about how First World War was generally responsible for, how nationalism, clearly, how nationalism developed a sense of collective belongings among the Indians. How nationalism developed a sense of collective belongings among the Indians. So first of all, there was slogan. Through slogan, there was the development of sense of collective belongings. Development of songs, folks, dance also created among the Indians, responsible for the sense of developing sense of collective belongings. Nathesa Sastri, who wrote Tales of Southern India, so this was second cause. Third one is the flag. The flag also unite the people and develop the sense of collective belongings among the Indians. And the last one is reinterpretation of Indian history. Reinterpretation of Indian history, the history was reconstructed and it was told to the people that Indian history, India enjoy a glorious position in trade, culture, architecture, science, technology, which have been fully destroyed by the coming of British. So in order to achieve that glorious past, the British has to be removed. So these were the causes for development of sense of collective belongings among the Indians. With this lesson came to an end. Hope to meet in next class. Thank you for watching this video.